Good day, tribe. We are back again with another metaphysical conversation. And we are here with Reverend Crystal Smith, who is a master metaphysician and spiritual teacher. So we are so blessed to have her here again today to share some information with us. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this conversation because I'm super excited to pick back up from. If you didn't catch part one, please go ahead and check out part one. It's not like you have to follow them in sequence. You can watch this one and then part one later. Whatever feels good, just flow right into it. But definitely part one was a must-see conversation. So when you get time, check that right out on e3spiritualwomen.com or the YouTube channel. All right. So let's go ahead and get right into this conversation today. So today we were talking about having another chat, sharing information about really obedience. Is it God or is it me? And a host of other topics. We're also going to have the floor open. So it's more like a ask and a let the information flow in from spirit. So whatever comes up is going to come out. So be ready, you guys. All right. How are you doing today, Reverend Smith?
I'm doing excellent. I'm extraordinary. I'm never ordinary. I'm phenomenal.
Yes, you are.
So are you. And so are you.
I receive it all. Yes, I am. Yes, I am indeed.
Yes. And your audience as well.
Yes, they are. I just absolutely, we can already feel the energy of all of them. So thanks you all for just joining. And please leave comments. So we love if you leave some comments below, especially if you have questions. Questions is really what makes the show. So if you, the more questions that you ask, we can really just pick up on what exactly you guys are wanting to unpack. Like, what do you want to hear more about? So in the meantime, today, what's been on my mind, like, is it God or is it me, right? Obedience. It can be down from the smallest thing, right? Sometimes all the way to the biggest thing. But if you can't hear it in small things, how are you going to hear it in the big things? So sometimes I feel like it's been a training for me almost. Those small things. Today, put this in do not disturb. Make sure you do that. Prepare for this. And later on, you'll get on down the road, begin shooting, whatever happens. And if you did not listen to that still small voice later on down the line, now you're seeing all the consequences because you didn't listen to that. Oh, you might want to take a moment to put it in do not disturb. You might want to take a moment to go get the gas now. Later on, the gas station's closed. So I just noticed all these little moments where you'll hear that small, still voice. But how do you know? Is it God? Is it my God as my God essence? Is it spirit or is it me? Like, how do we know the difference for that, Reverend Smith?
Well, you know what? That's something that a lot of people have in mind, that is it God or is it me? Some people really have a difficult time at whether or not they even believe in God, because they've asked so many times, God do this, God do that, God this, that, and the other. And so when they don't get what it is that they want, then they figure like there is no God, or there God don't like me, or there's a situation between me and God. And so the thing is basically, when you want to understand, is it God or is it you? You have a tendency to be, how do I want to say, it has to be a little bit pushy. The you is your ego. And so when you're thinking in terms of your ego has the tendency to be a little bit forceful. The spirit is always gentle, is always calm, is always easy, and it's always easy to miss, because it's not going to force you to do anything, because the universe knows that you're going to have to pay for those consequences. So when you don't listen, then you'll learn to listen by the things that come after you not haven't listened. So your consequences is going to be your teacher. And you'll absolutely learn to say, wait a minute, let me get this right. Let me get this out. Let me listen. Let me be still. And when it's forceful, then you know, oh, this is my ego talking. But it comes through practice. It's not just something that you wake up one day and say, oh, my ego's talking to me. Sometimes you can get that like that because you're cocky and arrogant. But generally, when it's real easy and real smooth, it's something that's like a gentle urging that tells you to do this, do that. Don't speed, slow down, the police is ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And those little gentle urgings,
Mm-hmm.
little, they're very cool. That's why they say it's a small, still voice, small, still voice, because it is the voice that's with you always.
Mm-hmm.
It's the voice that brought you here.
Mm. That's really wonderful. And like you were saying, is to stop, just slow down just a little bit. And it is easy to miss, but it is the training of it, because it's so many times when I didn't listen, got the consequences. And so you get frustrated in the consequences sometimes, frustrated like you said, God's not speaking to me, I'm not in alignment, all the things that we begin to maybe project, but it's really like a constant learning and a constant training. That's how it's almost felt between the relationship between Spirit and I, like developing that intuitive nudges, developing those spiritual gifts. It's not like they're not already there, but just beginning to, like, when I first began working with you a long time ago, your gifts used to always just like amaze me, like how you could just tune into energy, how you could hear certain things. I was like, wow, that's so cool how she could do that. And you always would tell me everybody could do that. Everybody could do it. And I love that you made it not so deep, not so like profound. You were like, it's more of a frequency. You were like, it's like a radio station. And all you have to do is really like tune into it. And the more you tune into the station, the clearer you'll hear. But if you're on 107.9 and Spirit's speaking on 9.65, every now and then when you rolling along the road, sometimes things might bump along and bump in, but you're not hearing it consistently and on that constant stream until you get your frequency adjusted. So I love the way that you spoke that to me and you illustrated it so eloquently. So I really understood it. And after that, I began to seek that frequency. But it's also like a vibrational frequency too. So where are you at? Because then it becomes clearer and more easier to receive the information and the voice of Spirit, even the download, the epiphany. Is so much that comes along with it. And I think I want to talk about the vibrational chart now that we're talking about that. But yeah, so I'm just grateful for that lesson and the frequency. So you may want to get into how everybody has these gifts, because sometimes we'll feel like, well, God doesn't speak to me. I know he does that for you guys, but you guys must just have something special about you guys, which of course we are, but everybody can't hear the voice of Spirit.
Well, it's true. It is true that God speaks to everybody. God's constantly talking.
Yes, yes.
How many times have you ridden with me
in
my car?
A few. I'll say that.
How many times have you heard the radio on?
Zero.
Zero. No, but you know why? Because I'm busy listening to Spirit.
Yes, yes.
I'm busy being quiet. I'm busy being still. And a lot of times, people will get all upset with me because when I'm in my car driving, I'm not doing a lot of talking. I don't do a lot of talking.
You don't talk either. We're just riding along silent. And that can be awkward for people who are not used to being with themselves, as you told me before. But continue.
Yeah, it is. They're not used to being with themselves. And because they're not used to being with themselves, when they get in their car, they cut the radio on. And sometimes with the young people, and they will cut the radio on real loud. and the reason why they'll cut the radio on real loud is simply because they cannot tolerate the thoughts that they have in their consciousness. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to absolutely silence those thoughts. Instead of saying, what am I thinking? Why am I thinking them? What do I need to do with them? How do I get them out of my head? And so the issue is we need to learn to be with ourselves. And when we're learning to absolutely be with ourselves, then you have to be willing and ready to acknowledge that you are not a human being, but you're a spiritual being. And you have to understand also that it is not you that's talking, it's Spirit that's talking.
Yes, yes.
And a lot of times, well, I'm thinking, where did the thoughts come from? Did you create the thoughts? No, you didn't create the thoughts. You're thinking the thoughts.
Yeah.
You are utilizing the thoughts. The thoughts are moving through you, just like oil or gas moves through the engine of a car. So it's just moving through the engine of the car, because your brain really basically is like the engine that the universe is using to absolutely utilize those ideas.
Okay.
And then you can actually go in on those frequencies.
Yes, yes.
And now when we talk about frequencies, the universe, everything, I don't care what it is, everything is energy. And science has even said, look, that basically they understand now that the energy that created everything and everybody is on 92 elements. I think it's 92 or 93 elements.
Wow. We're made of everything. Come on, let's
But all of those 92 or 93 elements make everything.
Wow.
Okay, so it's just they are calculated and put together universally by the higher divine to create everything. So that means that we're one with everything. Okay? Yes, and if you're one with everything, then you should be able to go into that frequency, with the infinite.
Yes, yes.
Now, since everything's energy, everything flows.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
And so when they talk about the Garden of Eden and the tree, it has nothing to do with an apple. It has to do with energy and thought on the lower level to the highest level.
Come on.
And when it goes up to the lowest level, it causes us to stretch. We have to stretch, but it goes through a cleansing process. And what man has done is, when he absolutely have chosen to introduce himself into the frequency of being able to communicate with God and everybody else, he's taken in energy from the lowest frequency.
Wow.
And so at the lowest frequency lies fear, false ideas, the fakeness of who we think we are rather than who we really are.
I'm going to have to insert the vibrational chart here. I will put it on there for the viewers, but I just took a shot of it the other day. I'm going to try to make this as brief as I can when I explain it. But it had me thinking of you as soon as I saw it. So we have to go over it. So they put it real brief, and as I said, I'll put this up for you guys, but it has shame, guilt, apathy, and grief. So that was, and those were the lower frequencies. That is, and they were saying, what does this show up like in your life when you are in these frequencies, essentially? When you're in those frequencies, inaction is what shows up. So when people feel like, I'm just not doing anything, I'm procrastinating, I just don't feel like I'm taking care of any sort of projects, I just find myself spinning my wheels kind of a thing, you might notice yourself in action when you're feeling shame, guilt, grief, or apathy. They were also speaking about, in those frequencies, it'll show you guys on the chart, like that's about 20. You're about 20 on the vibrational chart in shame. Guilt is about 30. Grief's about 75. So when you start talking about Christ consciousness just at the top, about 770, compared to being down here at a 20 or a 30 on the vibrational chart, woo, you're low, and so you're attracting such low experiences. But as far as you moving forward and taking care of the things that you actually want to be doing, the things that you're on the planet to express, that you're not even taking action on them things. You just notice that you're just in a inaction kind of state. It's what is kind of saying most people show up like. Now, next, we're going to get into the fear, desire, anger, and pride. You're going up a little bit. You still only about 100, 125, 150, or 175 when you get to that pride. Here come your ego. But now you're getting into hyperactivity.
Make sure you keep saying vibrational energy. Vibrational energy.
Vibrational energy. Yes, yes. Now, 85% of the planet is functioning at this vibrational energy. That's what they were basically breaking it down. So either hyperactivity you can be in, or inactivity. So I'm not doing nothing, or I'm just over functioning. Wondering why I keep doing, I can't sit still. Kind of similar to what she was just explaining. Riding in the car, gotta blast my music. I can't really sit with myself. Meditation, that stillness, all of that ain't really working for me. Moving fast, constantly gotta go, gotta do all of that. Some of this is because of the vibrational frequency. So all these experiences are what we are attracting. Now let's get up into it. We're getting into where only 10% of the planet normally functions at these vibrational frequencies. Courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, or reason. So this was like the 200, 250, 210, 350, or 400 is where we're getting into now. And this was producing more like happiness and productivity. So you kind of be feeling a little bit more inspire action, more in these vibrations here. Now we're going up into Christ consciousness, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. The fruits of the spirit. You're hearing some correlations here. Now what starts to happen in your experience from these vibrational frequencies are synchronicities and extraordinary outcomes. So what Reverend Smith would say here is the perfect outworking of the law. Now you start to see from all the different workings, the outworking of the law, what you put in that vibrational frequency that you are, now you start seeing your miracles and things pop. You have a thought and you'll see that thing just come forth so quickly because you cleared a lot of junk out of your consciousness. So now that I broke that vibrational chart down, I have to get her take on this because she's the one that introduced me to this chart. So what do you feel about those frequencies that I just broke down in that whole chart piece?
Well, you know what, like you said, there's very few people that's functioning at that level.
Yes.
But understand that we are all energy. We're all energy beings. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Even your body is energy. Mm-hmm. And the body itself does not die. So people think in terms, oh, Joe's dead, or my aunt died, and so and so. No. What they did is they gave up physical expression.
Wow.
But the cells of the body has still life because the cells of the body is atoms, neutrons, yes, protons, electrons. All of that is the foundation of life itself. That's why scripture says there is no death. Oh, death, where is that fear? Oh, death, where is that victory? Oh, death, where is their joy? Because there is lifted up in eternal life, where basically it no longer has any restriction. It doesn't have any restriction at that particular time because restriction won't belong to the body. Okay. It does not belong to the spirit.
Yes. And the commercial break has ended. We are back, tribe. And what we're going to get into as our next subject, we're just compiling upon what we were just talking about. We took a quick commercial break, looked at the vibrational chart, and now we were going into with Reverend Smith that everything is energy. So energy can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed. What does that mean? What does that look like for me when somebody gives you some energy? So you went to the store, you got some extra energy, you got frustrated, you got one of these emotions possibly, but all of that is energy. So since I cannot create it or destroy it, I literally can alchemize that energy and transform it. So I love for Reverend Smith to break that down a little bit more so we can get a full understanding of that. So take that subject away.
Well, the issue is, since everything is energy, everything is life, and you can't be created, nor can it be destroyed. So since it can be neither nor, it can be transformed. Mm-hmm. And we can see it in the easiest way. I'll tell you how we can see it in the easiest way. You can be very happy and very joyful, and then all of a sudden you will get a phone call. And in the midst of that phone call, you'll get something that somebody said something that irritates you to the bone. That's energy. The energy that the joy that you had before you picked the phone up is the same energy that's now transmuted into anger and rage. You can also shift that energy so fast when you just, I want to kill this person. So like you really want to just go through the phone and choke them dead or whatever. But the issue is it's the same energy. The energy that we use to light our house, the energy that we use to illuminate the light bulb, is the same energy. It's the same identical energy that could burn your house down.
Wow.
You know, so you absolutely have to understand that it depends on how you use the energy.
Yes, yes.
Because if you are using it in the negative, it can be very, very destructive. People say, I just lost my mind. Well, the issue is, well, that's another thing, because a lot of times losing your mind, we don't have a mind. We have brains. But that's another subject too. But the thing is the rage basically causes a disruption and a distortion in your use of energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Basically you're like decreasing some of your power, right? So sometimes we feel like when we get really mad and really angry, you and I had this talk a long time ago, sometimes you feel like I need to let these people know. They think they're gonna walk all over me and all this other stuff. I'm gonna let them know. And you just feel like it's real powerful sometimes to let somebody know, give them a piece of your mind, tell them how you really feel. And that makes you feel from the ego very, very powerful. But is that real power, or is the power really to be able to practice self-control? Once again, fruits of the spirit. But once again, to be able to just be like, okay, not just fly off recklessly with your words, with your actions, with your deeds, but actually be like the observer at times, to actually take the information in, but not be reactive, respond to it, but not react, as they would say, or just, just basically what you were just saying, like not to go into enrage, because you actually are decreasing your power. You feel like when you get real raged up and real fired up that you can really, I'll tear it up now, but you really are less powerful. So that is like, that's thought-provoking right there in itself, just the dynamics of that.
But think about it, you're not decreasing your energy. Then you are energy. The whole thing is that you are energy. What you are is you misdirecting your energy. And when you misdirect it gives you window as to how powerful you really are. Because when you see that rage, when you see that energy, it's like, oh my God, and it's like real intense. And you go, oh, if I can get that mad, then I can be that loving. If I can be that angry and very destructive, then I can be that creative.
Wow.
And so basically the thing is, it's like you going into and from force, to actually using power. And power is the ability to actually generate a positive outcome. Whereas force is what we see when we have battles and wars and suppression.
Wow.
And that's the thing, that God is the ultimate power. And that's why God is absolute love. God is absolute love, because if just God was just a little bit contaminated, can you imagine how much destruction? I mean, like, how much destruction?
To a lot of power. So once again, to whom much is given, much is expected. I'm hearing like with that, when you got all that power, you have to a right use of that power, directing it the right way, because you can literally burn it all down with all of that power. So you've mentioned to us before, sometimes that's why there's a delay in our thinking. We'll have like the thinking, but we don't always see it show up right away. Because if we did have, that's the grace essentially in our manifestation. Because if it showed up right away, sometimes some of the thoughts you might have been thinking, somebody's house might have been on fire right now. So he's just definitely good at times that we have that to help us deal with us, pretty much. The enemy within me again.
It is. The enemy never, listen, this is true. The enemy never leaves. I would tell you, the enemy is always present.
Wow.
That's why you always have to be conscious of what thoughts you're thinking. Pray without ceasing.
Yes,
If
yes.
we were constantly praying, then we would not have the disruption that we have on and the destruction that we have going on in the planet. We wouldn't be unhappy if we were praying without ceasing. It's you constantly in tune, constantly in harmony. And let me say this.
Okay.
It's important that we understand that praying without ceasing has nothing to do with you getting on your knees. Okay? Because people have prayed. They prayed and then they got up and they cussed somebody out. Or then they prayed and they went and robbed somebody. So the thing is every thought is a prayer.
Wow.
And that's why you must keep your thoughts pure. You must keep them clean. The clearer your thoughts, then the more powerful your asking is, your seeking, because you're seeking to be in line with the divine. Now, once you tell a person, say, well, everything has energy. And then you say, including money. Oh, don't they on that? What's the vibration for money? It's like, and the issue is that the higher your vibration is,
yes,
then it brings you into alignment, or you bring yourself into alignment with the allness of the universe.
Yes, which is money, okay. all things.
Right. And so the issue is like understanding everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so you want to absolutely keep that as a practice, a mental practice in your own consciousness, so that as you are thinking on these things, okay, because it is not money that is the root of all evil. It is what?
It is your love of money normally sometimes. But,
thank you very much. It is the love of money. And so understand what love is. Love is God.
It is.
Okay, love is God. So what you're trying to do is you're putting all your force behind paper that have dead man's faces on it.
Wow.
You're trying to use God's energy to get something that could burn up in a second, burn up in a minute. And then basically, no matter how much of it you get, you're still dissatisfied. So the thing is to constantly be in alignment with God, because as you are in alignment with God, you can absolutely at any time, any second, any moment, gravitate towards anything that you really want it to have in your life, your world, and your affairs. Because in the midst of God, there is everything.
Yeah, that's it.
Nothing is absent. And the one thing that, what I should have did, and Spirit told me to do it, Spirit told me to actually put my hand over my phone to silence my phone until we got off the call.
Wow. Remember when I started?
I used to do that all the time. Just when I come out of meditation, you can ring. but you don't ring before I come out of meditation.
Wow.
So the issue is like, and so when Spirit said, silence your phone, put your hand over there and silence that phone. And when it started ringing, it's like inside, I started chuckling, I started laughing. Why? Because I'd already been spoken to.
You heard it. Once again, that still small voice. That's how we started off the call, speaking about listening to that still small voice. Is it God or is it me? So you'll hear it. You're like, oh, okay. And sometimes that it's not you, because it's like, I wasn't thinking about waving my hand over my phone. I wasn't thinking about putting my phone in do not disturb, any of that. But you know that you heard it, but then you're still just not doing it. At times and then to know and not to do is even worse than not to know. That is really one of my favorite quotes, because it's like, first off, you're held accountable now that you know. And when you know better and you don't do better, you got to get the results of that, shall we say. We won't even call them consequences, but the outworking of knowing better and not doing better. So yeah,
that's the behavior of human.
Wow.
Okay, of human, because the scripture does not say that you are a human being. Psalms 82, I think it's 82:6, that says, ye are gods and children of the Most High. That's small g and with an S on the end. Just letting you know that basically you are not this body. You're not this body. You are the life, the breath of life. Understand what God said. The breath of life was blown into each and every last one of us.
Wow.
And so the separation from this physical body is God stepping out of it and having an expanded experience beyond our human form, what we call human form, because we have already said that is atoms, neutrons, protons, electrons, at the basic aspects of life itself.
Wow. That's deep. That's a lot. And that's the essence of it. That's what we are. So I love that. Energy. Energy.
Energy. But the issue is that we need to enjoy the aspects of each and every person that we come into.
Oh wow, that's mastery. We'll just say,
because when we can do that, when we are able to do that particular thing, then we can actually learn from the expression and the experience of one another.
Yes, we can. That's real.
Okay.
Wow. Come on, that's good.
So but it takes work. It really does.
You
it takes work to do that.
It does.
It takes the willingness. Okay, the willingness is really one of your 12 spiritual powers.
Wow.
Okay, because you can understand what to do, but you may not be willing to do it. Now you must be willing to do it, but you may not understand what it is that you to do. So the willingness and your understanding have to work together. They're kind of locked in sequence.
Yes, I agree. Yep. And once again, a lot of these things are how the perfect outworking of the law comes. You're the what, the universe is the how, clearing your thinking, letting it flow in. A lot of these things, it's like a perfect dance, a perfect balance between the energies, between the getting the lesson, your lesson and your blessing. All of these things, I see how they like kind of coincide and go hand in hand. So this has been super powerful. I definitely have been enjoying our talk so far. I'm trying to think any sort of question and answers. I may even tell them one of my favorite lessons, the just like me lessons. I might get into that one. That's a tough one, but it's good. It's tight, but it's right. So anytime you have any sort of feeling or emotion about somebody else, like, I swear she's always just angry. She's always got something to say. Just like me, instead of every single thing that you can see in somebody else, that means that it is in you somewhere. It may not show up exactly like they display it. So therefore you're like, I don't do that. I don't do that like that. I'm just no, that I never do that. And that, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, well, maybe like, do you lie? You might not lie like that. Like she lies right in front of you. She just told you a lie just flat out to your face, but you lie to yourself every day.
Yeah. I had 3 people that was in my life that was reflecting very negative and very harsh expressions.
Wow.
And I was looking at them and said, oh, what's my lesson so I can get my blessing? What's my lesson so I can get my blessing? And so I said something. I said, I need to absolutely understand what my lesson is. It's like, I really don't want to have to come back to the planet and have to deal with this. And Spirit spoke to me and said, that's you, Crystal. You're just a closet one of them. And I had to bust out and start laughing. Because it's, to be honest, to be truthful, and to absolutely acknowledge what is real, because you can't change as long as you go into denial. Wow. And a lot of times when we go into denial, oh no, no, I no, where's that? But the issue is, it is you. It is you. You know, I read this book one day. It said something about that, and I do know that whatever you're looking at, it's looking back at you. And I think the first tape we did, I said, when I go to the lake, I'm gonna see me. I'm not gonna see Lena Horns. And so the in this book they were saying that basically if you run into a stingy person, it says then that stingy person is reflecting the stinginess in you. And I'm like, no, I do this, I do that, I do that. And you go into this conversation, oh, I give this and I give that. Oh, I give my last dollar, I give my last 50 cents, I give, But then I had to say, well, Crystal, where is that stingy part hiding? I had to really look and see, where's that stingy part hiding? And I said, am I stingy with my love? Am I stingy with my patience? Wow. Am I stingy with my kindness and generosity? I had to just really had to come to a understanding about that. Yes. But I also had to come to an aspect of saying about the liar. Where's the liar in me? Because I'm like, I'm got all these liars and stuff around me. And then Spirit said, well, you're lying because you telling people you are a spiritual being, but you implementing yourself like a human being. Wow. So that's a lie, right? And right there. And I'm like, oh man. So I have to acknowledge, the fact that, I am a spiritual being, I am God's reflection. I am God's love and action. I am the aspect and the spirit and the space of love. I am the integrity of what God is. And so once you take that acknowledgement and the acceptance, playing small, like being a little tiny human being, being insignificant, lying and manipulating and stuff like that, that's over. It's over. Yes. Yeah, that's over. Exactly. So it goes into the reality of not what Jesus would do. It's not. It's what would God do? The God in you, what would they do? What would it do? Because the issue is, the thing is if I am God with a small g, then I have to implement every aspect in the God self, because we have to understand something. Every drop of water has in it what the original source has in it. The lake, the river, or the sea, the ocean, it doesn't matter. That bigger body has everything in one drop of water.
Yes, yes.
And just like we're individualized expressions of God, we have every drop, every aspect, every element
Wow.
of God.
I love it. That is beautiful. Yeah, so going back to that ocean, would you rather just be that drop or go back to the ocean?
That's why I'm working. I'm working to get back there.
Get back to the ocean. That's what we all working for, to get back to the ocean. Woo, I don't know if we're gonna take another break, another pause, because sometimes, as you told me before, with our attention span and stuff like that, we just have to digest some of it instead of just trying to take all this in one moment. We have to like kind of just take some moments, digest it, go along it, and then go over into this next subject. So we may take another pause, just get into what is energy. We just took all that in. Definitely, like I said, I believe we're going into one more part of this because we need our question and answer. So I'm gonna get a few questions together, and then we'll do our last part of answering questions. But please follow along. Make sure you leave your questions below in the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will be doing more elevated conversations. Some of them will be about metaphysics. Some of them will just be elevated conversations. So, but it's all metaphysics, honestly. But, just kind of stay tuned on the journey, e3spiritualwomen.com. Make sure you stay tuned for 2024. We're going to be releasing some new programs, and it is going to be amazing. Definitely are feeling divinely led for some new programs. So please stay along on our journey. So we're going to take another quick pause, commercial break. Then after that, we will be right back. We're going to drop some more jewels. So share some more information. So thank you so much for following the journey. Talk to you guys in one moment. Peace.